podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Welcome to another finely edged production for the Premier League Cricket Club. Connecting players and coaches, clubs and leagues, volunteers and supporters alike, you're in the right place for the best of the 33 ECB Premier Leagues and the 20 NCCA counties, bringing you the stories, the stats and the standout performances that make this game great. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to both our Premier League and NCCA shows so you don't miss any episodes. Now, shall we get stuck in? So, welcome everybody to the Premier League Cricket Show, and it's match week 16 with me, Ian Livo, brought to you once again by our friends at B3 Cricket. And we'll talk about them a little bit later. But it was good to see Michael over at Derbyshire County Cricket Club yesterday, Hugh. But also, as you can tell, Mr. Newsome, Cric Stats AI. How you doing, bud?
Very good, very good. Yeah, I saw a B3 bat being wielded by Josh Tongue yesterday. I saw the back of it. I think his stumps had just been cleaned up or something along those lines. But never mind. It was important. The B3 was the important bit over the Test match.
Exactly. We just pause it on there, don't we? Send a picture to Blathers and say, there you go, mate. It's made it. Just could have stayed in there for, was it 7 runs more would have been nice?
Well, that's right, yeah. I don't think it was the bat's fault.
Yeah, not in the slightest. How was your weekend, bud?
Do you know what? I can't remember. It's a long time ago now. Oh, God, do you know what? I got done. I can't. This bloke, he came into bowl, just a little away swing, walked up, stopped, walked up, stopped. I fell over, LBW for 1. So, yeah, it's just, I can't cope with it. I need people to run in properly. You're not allowed to just walk up and stop because I just start keeling over sideways, lose my balance, and that's the end of that. So, yeah, but I suspect our guests can help in that regard.
Oh, well, considering I've only found out in the last 10 minutes that he actually coached you, inverted commas, 11 years ago. So our guest this week, we've gone local. It's our first guest this year from the Derbyshire League. It's a league that Hugh and I might have a clue about for a change, is the best way to put it. But we've got a local legend, with 21,500 runs on his play cricket career. And I don't know if he even realises it himself, this. He's 17 runs short, 15,000 for his current club, and that is Ticknall Cricket Club in Derbyshire's Premier League. Joining us is Mr. Paul Borrington. How you doing, mate?
Very well, thanks. Thank you for having me.
I hope you do get those 17 quickly, because otherwise I won't be able to live that down, will I?
Yeah, you're right. I didn't know about that, but yeah, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
11,850 Premier League runs, an average of 58, 50 50s and 45 hundreds. At what point have you stopped counting the hundreds, or are you ticking them off?
I wasn't aware of how many it was until you just told me, so...
Stop counting.
Yeah.
Are you disappointed when you don't get it? Are you just like, every week you're just expecting 100?
Absolutely not, no. No, it certainly don't work like that. I mean, you just try and get as many as you can, don't you?
I always tell the story of what one of Mr. Borrington's ex-coaches used to say. So, Howard Dytham, when I was talking to Howard about how Paul bats, he said... He's got it. He'll be there for 30 overs and he's 30 or 40 not out. And then by the end, all of a sudden, he's on 80 odd. You're like, well, hang on, what happened there? The fact is he's accumulated constantly all the runs. And you don't get to this many runs on play cricket, Hugh, without pure accumulation, do you?
No, but that's 18% of your Premier League innings, you've got 100. So that's pretty good. One in 5. There's a few. I assume there's a few where you couldn't have got 100 as well. The 46 not outs in there as well. So yeah, I think that's all right. How on earth do you do it?
I don't know. I mean, the question you asked a minute ago, I'm sort of expecting or going into games thinking that. As I said, you just sort of weigh up each game one at a time and just work your way through the different phases of the game and then try and get to the last little bit, I guess, and have as big an impact on the game as you can.
Yeah. Is there anybody, I probably shouldn't be asking this because it's a bit too close to home, is there anybody in the Derbyshire Premier League, maybe past or present, that you're looking at bowling-wise and going, I'm not getting 100 today because he's playing? Is there a nemesis? And you might not be the best bowler. Have you got a nemesis, a bit like my dubious falling over right arm outswingers? Or have you got a perfect game?
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of people that got me out lots of times, so I'm sure there's lots of nemesises, but not really, no. It's just every game's a bit different, isn't it? But yeah, lots of people have got me out lots of times.
Well dodged.
When you played the games that you have, you're bound to be nailed by Dan Wheeldon a number of times or whoever. It's going to happen, isn't it? As one of the biggest wicket takers. But how's life back in the Premier League for Ticknall? Because you had a little sabbatical away from it for a year or so, didn't you? And got back up. How's this year? You're in 6th place at the moment. You enjoyed it?
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks. We obviously had a year a couple of years ago. It didn't quite go to plan where we ended up and then managed to get straight back up. But yeah, we've done pretty well this year. I think we've won as many as we've lost, and we're about halfway in the league. So if we could just have a good finish to the end of the season and try and finish in the top half, I think that would be a pretty good return.
Just looking at the league table, you've got yourselves and Chesterfield came up last year, and both of you sort of, as we kind of predicted, I think we thought both would do pretty well. Both gone solidly mid-table. So what's the next jump next year? I mean, availability always seems a bit of an issue with Ticknall, particularly with yourself, with your teaching. Are you able to sort of promise more games next year, or is that it? Are you kind of stuffed? Can you have a word with Denniston, your school, and say, come on, can you let me out for a few more?
No, I think my games will be about the same. I think my commitment to Denniston will be the same as it's been in the last few years. I think Ticknall have been involved tight games this year. There's been so many games that have been close, which could have gone either way. And if we just got on the right side another 2 or 3 of those, we'd be right up amongst the top few teams. And I think that's a reflection of the league, really. There's no easy games in the league, and there's not much between a lot of the teams, and a lot of the games week to week are really competitive games that could go either way.
Yeah, I think one of the things I've spotted this year is, Ockbrook and Borrowash, they've got themselves an almost 60-plus point lead at the top. And it doesn't feel as though they've almost snuck that through, haven't they? Because there have been a lot of close games.
Yeah, I mean, Ockbrook have had a tremendously consistent season, and to win as many games that they had is an amazing achievement. It looks like they're going to be fully deserving runaway champions. But as you said, there's been a lot of tight games where there's not been much between them, and Ticknall have won a few of those and lost a few of those. And as I said, if we just get on the right side of a few more of those next year, hopefully that gets us a little bit further up the table, because obviously we want to try and be involved at the top end if we possibly can be.
Yeah, and how much of a surprise has it been that Swarkston have been, well, they're in 9th now, but for a long time they were in relegation zone, weren't they? How much of a surprise around the league has that been?
I'm not sure. I mean, I didn't play in the game against Swarkston, so I didn't see them. Yeah, I think everybody knows it's a tough league. It's a good standard, and there's lots of good teams in the league, and it can be tough sometimes when you get on a run and don't win many games, as we found out a couple of years ago. So yeah, I mean, as I said, there's lots of good teams in the league, and it's no real surprise if what the league table looks like.
Got to talk about the length of time you've been playing there now. It's many, many years in Premier League cricket in Derbyshire. What are you seeing as the biggest change in 2025 to just, say 10 years ago in the Derbyshire League? I've been watching Derbyshire League cricket for 28 years now, but at Premier League level, what have you seen as the biggest difference up there?
Good question. Obviously, the format changed a few years ago, which brought a little bit of a different style of cricket. I think it's definitely brought a more exciting game. It's probably meant more. There's more phases in games that are dead, maybe, than previously with the draw in it. I think the depth that teams have nowadays, where they bat all the way down and they have 5, 6, 7 bowlers, has probably got better as the years has gone on. But maybe that's helped with the change of format as well, where teams have needed to have contributions from bat and ball all the way through the innings. Yeah, I mean, in lots of ways things change lots. In lots of ways things don't change much at all, I guess.
You're right. I mean, the depth, I think, is the key. I think if I look back 10 years ago, you might, even in the Premier League, there might be one player who's being, inverted commas, carried, that extra body that you've had to put on the pitch. You look on a Saturday now and you look through the sides, there's no players being carried anymore in the Premier League, is there? And a lot of the clubs seem to be only using 12, 13, 14 players across the whole season. That's the difference I've spotted.
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly in the strong sides, they're really consistent with the sides they get out and the roles in the side. And then they big contributions throughout that team. It's amazing how many teams win games from losing wickets early or from not getting a start. But yeah, I think that's a reflection in the strength of particularly the stronger sides, but especially the league, really.
Yeah, I think last weekend's result between Swarkston and Ockbrook was a perfect indication of that, wasn't it? With Swarkston scoring a couple of hundred, they had Ockbrook at 1 for 1. And next thing you know, Ockbrook are 145 for 1. They've taken an early wicket. They've thought we've got a bit of a chance here. But then Ethan Berlusconi in particular has gone on to have a big innings for Ockbrook with Josh Leeson. That seems to be, as you say, a regular thing we're seeing around the grounds, isn't it?
We had a pretty similar game with Ockbrook the week before, where we batted first and got an early wicket, and then that was the end of our wickets because of how well they played after that. But yeah, I think it's been a really It's been a strong league. It's been a great league to play in because of the competitive nature fixtures. And I'm sure that will continue towards the end of the season as we get towards the part where there tends to be a few surprise results or a few different results thrown up as it gets near the business end of the season.
Just looking at your league position, I mean, you're slap bang in the middle in sixth, but you're only maybe 2 wins away from pushing up towards second. San Diego are second on 261, you're on 216. Oxford just basically haven't lost a game really all season. They lost the one game, but they've been indefatigable most of the season. So I think going up from the season before, would you class that, if you'd have said now mid-table at the start of August, would you have gone, yes, please, I'll take that. Thank you very much.
Yes and no. I think it's about where we thought we'd be. We think we're pretty strong. As I said, it's easy to look back through the season and find a few games that we probably could and should have won. But certainly moving into next year and the years after that, we'd hope to be as high as we possibly can and trying to get right in amongst the top teams. But yeah, as you said, to come back up into the league, I think if we can have a really good finish the season and finish in the top, be a pretty strong season for us.
Yeah, most definitely. How good's Tom been for you this season? I know he's ahead of you in the runs, and you could argue that's because obviously he's played a lot more bloody games than you as well. But he's been such a leader to have in the club, especially when you've not been around, and score those runs and at a good strike rate, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's obviously a hugely important player and person within the club and has been for such a long time now. His contributions with bat and ball and in the field and as captain as well are such big contributions. They have such a big impact on games. As you said, he's a hugely valuable player for us. I think his bowling's become more and more valuable in the last few years, and Saturday's a good example of that. But I think his run tally has been as consistent as anything over the last 10, 15 years in the league, and that's something that's certainly made him really valuable to us as a team and as a club.
Well, just say Tom's first team stats this year, just across all the first team goes, 20 innings, averaging 47, 860 runs at a strike rate of 90. So, he's doing particularly well. You got Will Tarrant there, has done really well for you. Young lad coming up, he's over 500 first team runs. Greg Cork, obviously, is always useful. He's over 500 runs, and you've only played the 12 first team games, but you're at 500 runs as well, averaging 54, as you tend to do. So, you've got really good contribution, 4 key batting contributions there, which is always difficult to find in any Premier League side. If you can replicate that next year, maybe add a little bit more depth, it looks rosy.
Hopefully, yeah. As you said, yeah, there's some key players in that side, but there's much more in the side than just those names as well. Yeah, as I talked about earlier, the contributions throughout the team are what is important to winning games, and you can find lots of examples in that throughout the season.
Yeah. One of the things I would say about the Derbyshire League, and obviously Hugh and I, week in, week out, look at 33 Premier Leagues around the country. One of the things I would say is it's definitely far more of a batting league these days than a bowling league. And I say that with the number of players who are over 500 runs already this season. There's 4 players over 600 runs this season. And there's only a few around that 30 wickets mark. Do you think that has been a change in the last few years, but maybe because the win-lose format and the way we've got things working in the Derbyshire League, that those batters up the top end have become far more important for everyone?
Yeah, I think it's probably the depth inside as well. I think you're right. The format has played a part in that in terms of teams feeling they need more runs and feeling they can chase more runs. The scores at Ticknall have actually been down a little bit in our games this year, and there's been no obvious reason for it. I think last week was the first time a team had got over 200 batting first.
Wow.
So it's a little bit different week to week, club to club, team to team. But yeah, I think the format has certainly given the teams confidence to feel they can chase scores and also probably feel that they need to get as many as they possibly can batting first. Just
on your journey, Paul, obviously you played professional cricket for 7-8 years, was it, something along those lines? How does we have a lot of people listen to this who potentially want to break into the professional ranks or coming through the Premier Leagues or looking that by the NCCA route. What would you say is the biggest difference between a Premier League batter and a professional batter? What are the different skills that maybe you would need to have to jump up to that next level that you did?
I think skill-wise, there's probably not much in it. I think the piecing it together is important about how you can manage different situations and how you can handle different phases of games. There's lots of good players in lots of Premier Leagues all around the country that have lots of good skills. Mm-hmm. I think the level above that is maybe just managing pitches, bowlers, phases of games to make sure that you can your output in amongst that. And obviously the standard of bowlers that you're facing goes up another level as well. So yeah, it certainly becomes a more tactical and a mental approach, and those aspects of the game are massively important the higher up the levels that you get, I think.
Is there a certain, like obviously pace, with the people always talk about the extra pace. Did you notice that when you jumped into the professional ranks that the pace was quicker, or was it just the bowlers were just better, hitting their areas more consistently and doing more with the ball?
Probably both of those things. I think the pitches obviously play a big part, and that is a big difference between club pitches and first class pitches in terms of the pace and the consistency. Yeah, the level is a level above, and it's for those reasons that you just listed. But yeah, I look back on my time with great fondness, and I'm really pleased and proud to have had the opportunity to play as many games as I did.
Yeah. So if you had a 22-year-old lad, say, he's played a few second team games, your club, and he's saying, right, what key thing to jump into, say to kick on to Premier League, is there one bit of advice that you go, this bit of advice is the most important, or is it not that simple? It isn't that simple, obviously, but is there a nugget of wisdom you could give that 22-year-old?
Yeah, I think, as you said, it's not always that simple. I think just being able to listen to the game and do what the game needs you to do, particularly as a batter, is important, but as the bowler as well, that's obviously a big part of the game. And cricket's good because it's such a measurable game, and in the end, performances and stats stand up and speak for themselves. So yeah, each game situations and what's needed of you is really, really important. And a lot of that comes with experience, where you probably have to get that wrong quite a few times before you start to really work some of those things out. But I think handling different situations and phases in games is something that sets the real top players apart.
Yeah, I think I'd back that 100% on something I saw last Wednesday. I was on analyst duty between Warwickshire women and Surrey women over at Edgbaston. And the tier 1 level at women, it's a bloody good quality. But when Alice Capsey came in and Danny Wyatt-Hodge came in and were England level, you could just see those levels just went up. And when Izzy Wong came in and bowled at England pace rather than tier 1 pace, shall we call it, you could see the whole game just elevated. And you could just see that those, I'm going to say micro, but they're not micro differences. It's quite a big, you can see that step up straight away. Young Davina Perrin scored a ton for Warwickshire that day. She's a Staffordshire girl, England under 19s. Again, you could just see her step up, scored with the better the bowling, the better she batted. There's no two ways about it. And I think that's what you're saying there, Paul. Being able to read the game at the right time, play the right bowlers back as a batter. That's going to be key all along with these guys, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the women's game's gone through the roof in the last few years, hasn't it? And that those girls that you mentioned there at that level, they're right at the top of the women's game. And there is a noticeable difference when those people are in amongst, even at county level.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think handling situations in terms of facing or playing bowlers or bowling at batters is massively important as players develop through their younger years.
Most definitely. Hey, we talk about development. We can't go amiss past this without saying congratulations to the now 7 national counties players who've been signed for Metro Bank contracts over the last 2 weeks. 7 in 2 weeks, Hugh. I mean, even me and you a bit. Last year we were congratulating Tom Hinley and Tommy Sturgis for going down to Worcester. Now we've got Andrew Neil, Romano Franco, Rory Hayden, Joe Hawkins and Joe Pocklington all making a debut in the Metro Bank today. I mean, the change up there I'm calling it Gilo ball, Hugh, because it was Gilo and the boys down at Worcester were the first to look at it last year, weren't they?
Well, it was just somebody hitting them round the face with the big wet fish going, there's some good players here and they're not that expensive. And, they may be not necessarily better than what they've got, but they have the potential to be better than potentially what they've got. So, and we've seen today, Vanch Jarni's got 81. So Warwickshire were collapsing. Like 12 for 4, 16 for 5. Vanch Jarni's got 81, batting 6. So he's right up there.
Rory Hayden took his first list day wicket. Just someone called Cam Bancroft. I mean,
went at 3s as well. Everyone else has gone at 6. Yeah. He's gone at 3s, opening the bowling. So I mean, it's that. I mean, you always the Great Cricketer podcast is that, are these guys good? Well, yeah, they are good.
Yeah.
So, the more people sort of realise it, then the more opportunities for these 22-year-olds who are coming into the game, Paul, who get these opportunities. And there's quite a few popping up this week. And this comp as well is such a great comp. I mean, I do like the 100. I love the 100. I've mentioned it a few times, but actually I'm more excited about the One Day Cup because of all these opportunities and all the players that we can keep an eye on.
Yeah, before we look elsewhere around a couple of leagues, as we always do, I've also got to mention the other guys again. Joe Pocklington.
Yeah, run himself out in a
We
heat.
have gone on and on and on about this guy for the last 2 years. And he makes his debut in List A for Nottingham today. He's taken 3 for 53.
Oh, he got so I saw him get. I haven't seen the 3 for 53. So good
3
on
for
him.
53.
He absolutely. He was trying to get Tom Moore's back on strike and ended up in a heap in the middle of the pitch, which is not what you want in your first class in your pro debut, is it? But
no, not
yeah, Joe's. I think we talked about him. He had an incredible run of university cricket, Lincolnshire cricket, and club cricket as well. And I think looking at his progression, the most improved player in the country, and it's fantastic that somebody has taken a punt on him. And it's a big county in Notts as well. So I think he'll go all right, and it sounds like he is.
We'll give Peter Moores one bit of advice though.
What's that?
Joe's not a number 8 bat.
Well, he's just he's you're gonna have to watch the replay. It was very funny. Like you got to look back. And what was your debut like, son? Well, yeah, I've ended up in a heap in the middle of the pitch and got run out, but never mind.
Yeah. How do you find that, Paul? Because if we ask you what your Derbyshire debut was like, is there a stream from back then? We can't. There's no coverage that you've only got it in your memory, I guess, haven't you?
I hope there's no stream, so it didn't go very well for me. So hopefully there's not much coverage of it. But yeah, you obviously remember it. Although quite a long time ago now, obviously. Yeah,
it's a mark for us. We've been talking about a lot of these players for 2 years. You'd already said it, Paul, which is great. There's a lot of Premier League players out there across the whole of the Premier League stratosphere. We reckon we can name 2 or 3 in every single league that you ask the question, why haven't they been given that extra chance? And it might be that face doesn't fit, they're not in the right place. They're not even giving it a go in the twos, maybe. So there's lots of different reasons, Paul, isn't there?
Yeah, I think timing. Important thing as well. You always need a little bit of luck with your timing in terms of what teams have got and what they haven't got, and injuries and where the roles in the sides are. But yeah, I mean, it's a really thing that there's some really strong sides around in Premier Leagues all around the country, which are made up of some really strong individual players.
Most definitely. Hey, let's have a look at one of our other. We're going to have a look at 2 quick leagues while we're at it today. So let's go down all the way down south to Kent, where Tunbridge Wells are leading the Kent Premier League at the moment. They're 18 points clear of Hayes. There's 5 games left in that, and Bromley in third place are only 40 points behind, which is effectively 2 wins. It's still a little bit tight at the top. It's probably a little bit less tight down the bottom, with Holmesdale looking in a little bit of trouble unless they get on a run. But what did you see there at the weekend, Hugh?
Yeah, Holmesdale, they're a little bit adrift, but they're not cut adrift yet.
No.
There's a few of the teams around in and around, so they could get themselves out of trouble if they, like you say, get on a run. But I suspect not. Tunbridge Wells game was an interesting one. They put up 169 all out in 49 overs, and then Bexley got bowled out in 48 overs, 20 odd shy. That could have gone either way. Tunbridge in first, Bexley in fifth. Yeah, so it was probably a tight game. I suspect they would have liked a few more runs, but they got the job done. Matt Stiddard, 63 for Bexley, was really important for them. As was Freddie Foster with 4 for 34. Will Stickler for Tunbridge Wells, 57. And Drew Beasley, 41 were the key performers there. Matt Luksic, 4 for 22 with the ball. Blackheath, St Lawrence and High Court. St Lawrence got 265 for 8, and Blackheath didn't get close. Darren Stevens, heard of him? 81.
He's played a few games, hasn't he?
Yeah, pretty useful. Doesn't look like he took many wickets or got a bowl, but yeah, he'll be pretty happy with that. And then, Minster Sheppey in 8th, they put up 153, and Hayes chased that. No trouble. Will McVigar, 69 off 75 balls. Lordswood, Holmesdale put up 237. Lordswood got it pretty comfortably with 6 overs to go. Joe Gordon, 61 not out. Ed Taylor, 61 not out as well. And then Sandwich Town, Bromley, 161 all out batting first. Sandwich didn't get there, 154 for 9. So a really tight game there. Not a lot from Sandwich, quite a lot of contributions, but nobody really did anything much. We've got top score, I think, was 22. Ryan Davis opening the batting, but everybody else has chipped in. Virtually everybody has made it to the teens. Only Rory Smith with 9 didn't get into the teens, but nobody's made it past 22. So an interesting one for Sandwich, and they could probably regret that falling just short. But never mind there. Yes, that's the Kent League.
Got to ask Paul, how good is it, Paul, when you start hearing the likes of Darren Stevens? He's come out of the professional game. Many people were surprised that he didn't get a contract last year, but he's still ploughing away. He's playing his Premier League cricket and obviously enjoying it.
Yeah, it's brilliant. As you said, I think it's not just on the pitch, but off the pitch. These guys can have such a positive influence on clubs and players that they're playing alongside and players that they're playing against as well. So it's I think it's a hugely valuable thing when players at that level come out the professional game and are still contributing to cricket so importantly throughout the leagues.
Yeah, they could just add so much value to a club, and just by being a presence around the place. It's what it's all about, isn't it? I'm not going to. How can I put this? I'm not trying to say that's what you do at your place, because you're a different character altogether. But you are an ex-Derbyshire player, and you've come out and done the same, and you haven't packed your bags and gone sod that for a lark, have you?
Yeah, I mean, you just try and contribute as positively as you can, I guess, each week and each training session and each game, whether that's performances on the pitch or helping people that are around you. But yeah, I mean, people having the chance to bat with Darren Stevens in an innings of 8 odd will certainly have benefited from that, I'm sure.
Talking of innings, that you obviously scored 118 at the weekend yourself. A, another one of those tons. B, great place to have a ton at Chesterfield.
Yeah, lovely setting. Yeah, nice ground, great place to play cricket. Always a really nice game. It was a lovely day of weather there as well. Mm-hmm. A bit of our innings didn't quite go as we might have liked it to, but yeah, we managed to get up to a decent score in the end and then bowl pretty well to defend it.
Yeah, well, you were the 14th highest run scorer in the country in the Premier League at the weekend, and at that point, he's not been able to join us live this week, but we did speak to our friend Matt Taaffe from Cric, and we had a chat about what those boys have been doing around the country as well. So as we said, everyone dropping in today rather than sitting with us because we know he's a busy boy, we've got our friend from Cric, Mr. Matt Taaffe. How are we doing, bud?
Yeah, good to be back. Another week down.
Another week down, and more importantly, 43 runs later, me and Hugh were actually texting each other about you getting runs. We were that happy for you, mate.
Red ink as well, wasn't it?
Red ink, yeah. It was a serious graft. It was a tough, sticky pitch. They bowled well, so I had to get my head down and finally came to the party, really.
Well, it was your old foe, wasn't it? Summit Ruick has followed you from the Liverpool comp. He's come to the Northern Prem, and you had to battle against him, basically.
I know, yeah. Agent and player as well. A bit of a battle with Cric, but came out on top there, so that was a nice little one. But no, he's a proper player, isn't he, Summit? And his UK league record is just not far off a joke, to be honest.
But his record versus Taaffe is not special. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I do find it funny that you've had a interrupted season. You had a great start, and the league's not been so kind to you, and yet Summit Ruick are one of the country's best left arm orthodox rocks up, and you send him over the fence.
Well, it must have been my day.
Was that? So I did see a big six. Was it off Summit or was it off somebody else?
No, it was off. It was off a seamer. It went miles. Not gonna like batting that one down. It went a long way, but it's all down to the bat. I used Boyney's bat. I think that bat's averaging.
We know Boyney's bat's good at home.
Yeah, it's averaging about 80, that thing. So I don't know how we're going to work out Saturday, whether we're going to have to just drop and run, bit of baseball style and slide in.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Do we need to have a word with the Blackpool Air Show? It's Blackpool Air Show this weekend. Is that ball still travelling? Is it? Do we need to get the radar station?
Yeah, it's flagging down, but it's got to be the bat. He'll be happy with me giving it a bit of a shout out, but yeah, it was good to get a win, and like you say, 7 games to go, business ending. It's crazy tight in the Northern League.
It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. We'll cover that over the next couple of weeks without a doubt. We'll get another guest on from the league, I'm sure. But in the meantime, let's have a look at what your Cric boys have been up to at the weekend. We'll start with the batters. How have they been doing, bud?
Yeah, runs again for our lot. Derval Green, a West Indian at Horsepath. He's Topped the charts this week, 141 not out off 91 balls. Again, a player that arrived late and sort of like set the house alight for Horsepath, and he's fitted in really well, and great to see him scoring runs. So he's topped the charts. A familiar name, Mohamed Ashraful, 118 not out for Portsmouth. Just an absolute class act. He got 100 in our showcase game the other week down at Reigate, and there's no wonder why he scores so many runs. It is far too easy for him. Rashan Lakmal, North Devon, 112 not out. Sharon Fonseca for Denby, 100 for him. And then Sandyford's Kalhara Senarathna, he's gone 100 not out off 78 balls, and then backed it up with 5 for 8 in the second innings off 3 overs. Yes, we've just showcased him across our socials, so that's a proper day out for him. Garnet Tar, the South African run machine for Salisbury, 100 off 88 balls. A proper player. Gareth Severin, 99. Peter Trigo, 97. Shnihal Kuthanka for Hulzingari, 99 not out. He's churned a lot of runs for them on the quiet. But yeah, sort of tops the charts with us really. But awful lot of 90s and 80s as we generally see week on, week out.
Most definitely. And just go repeat that one. Gareth Severin, jug avoidance.
Big jug avoidance. It was off 57 balls.
That's not bad.
He had time.
So he had time to get it. But yeah, 99, he scored a hell of a lot of runs this year.
He has.
Like you say, class act as well. But sums up our batters this
Absolutely.
weekend.
Absolutely. What about rest of the country? There's some interesting names up and down the list here, Hugh.
There is. I'm caveating this because Play Cricket's had a bit of a mare. I don't know if I got a message on my phone over the weekend, and there's a few. I suspect there's a few that have not popped in, so I've been doing some digging, and we might have to caveat this. So if someone's put a double 100 up, apologies. Alfie Cooper at the top, Swanson 153 not out against Whittam in the EAPL. Andrew McEwen 140 off 143 for Hampshire Academy against Burridge. That's in the Southern Prem. Brooke Guest, I think literally the day after playing for Derbyshire, he's popped up with 137 Moorlands against Barkistan and Huddersfield. There's a few names popping up in Huddersfield this year, isn't there? And then Lord at Burley Parks with 113 off 115 balls against Netlham in the Lincolnshire League. That's James Lord. And Harry Friend, Newport against Ammanford, 134 off 140 in the South Wales Prem. That's the top 5. But yeah, just jumping about. And you've got Jack Ball at Wimbledon. Wimbledon going really, really well. Brad Schmulian, 127. Joe McGregor at Colchester, and then a certain P. Borrington, 118, not out. That's his 45th Premier League ton. And there's Mohamed Ashraful. He's going really, really well. Needs a bit of help at Portsmouth, doesn't he? He's not getting a huge amount, but they're doing okay. They've come up this year and have settled. So hopefully they can get some bit of extra depth for next season. But yeah, he's done really, really well.
Yeah, definitely. A couple I just want to pick up as well that I've spotted. Callum Turner with another ton for Ormskirk. Matty McKiernan, 125 off 72 balls for Lee. But that was beaten by Charlie Sharland, who scored 124 off 65 balls for Penzance against their arch rivals from last season, Callington. Absolutely blew the game away there. I think the other names that stood out for me, just going down them, Aidan Langley, scoring runs again for New Farnley. Duncan Snell, how many runs has he scored for York over the years? Cam Hemp down at High Wycombe with a ton. And our friend Joe Hawkins down at Brentwood. And I did notice with another 100, friend of the show, been on a couple of times, is always good to us, Mr. Liam Gray. I'm going to say, is there many better seeming all-rounders in the country than Liam Gray at Northern?
No.
Bowls and opens the batting as well. Would you agree, Taff?
Yeah, he's top of the pile for me.
Absolutely.
Not biased, but his stats back it up as well. And he's proper.
Yeah, just one other name. We've got another ton for Hugh Weebkin, the Aussie under-19 player. He's hit 1,200 runs at 70 for Sunbury this season. Not bad for a young lad coming over for his first taste of overseas cricket. So, yeah, just we've mentioned him a few times. He just keeps catching the eye pretty much every week, and the numbers are up there. So, yeah, congrats to him. Yeah,
the other guy that I'll just mention as one final one, slipped into the High Wycombe side. Like they haven't got enough bloody batters at the top of the order. But AJ Woodland comes home from Dubai for a few weeks and slips into the High Wycombe side and scores 101. Sorry, Teddy, mate. You'll be listening and going, yeah, we know. But it's what happens, isn't it? When you're that good, you can just slide in when you want to, basically. So, hey, let's have a look at the bowlers. What have you all lot been up to, Mr. Taaffe?
Yeah, again, plenty of wickets showcased across. Omega Chaturanga, 6 for 23, leading the way. There were sixers for Dinushka Milan and Rajat Day. We've had Jalak Khan at JG Meekins, 5 for 5. As I touched on before, backing up his 100. Kalahar at Sandyford, 5 for 8. Mani Sankamura Singh, another five for 31 up at Philadelphia. He's just crazy good. And then, like you say, a few more fifers knocking about and fourfers. But like you say, it was the other guys just mentioned that led the charts.
Yeah,
That game at JG Meekins was carnage.
Yeah.
Audley 74 all out. JG Meekins 77 for 7 in 14 overs. An interesting pitch potentially, but yeah, quite a short game and wickets galore for the people that got the ball down the other end.
Absolutely. What you got at the top of the pile in the rest of the Nationals? I think we're at loads of sevenfers, isn't there, Hugh?
Yeah, 6 7fers. Wasim Kazim for Moorlands. Again in Huddersfield against Barkisland. He's top 7 for 13, 9 overs. Sam Wood, Richmondshire, 7 for 23 against Norton in the North Yorkshire South Durham League. Connor Haddow just keeps popping up my list at the moment. He's done with all those fourfers and he's getting sevenfers. 17 overs, 7 for 39 for High Wycombe against Harefield. That's in the home counties. Farhad Hassan, 9 overs, 7 for 53 for Stony Stratford against Geddington in the Northants League. And Dan Wilson at Northern against Newton Le Willows in the Liverpool Comp, 7 for 59. But yeah, there's a few more names lurking around there. Just Charlie Murphy at Sandy Acre. He's been on my radar recently. Jack Hughes at Townville against Bradford and Bingley with a 6 for. And just Adnan Gauss, he's there a lot of the time, 6 for him. And just a bit quick scan down as well. There's one more I was going to pick out. Oh, there's the Ali Usman Blackpool against Garstang, 5 for 21. That's the other one I was going to pick out. He's done all right this weekend, as well as Matt Taaffe.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that the Timmy Taylor, who took 5 for 30 for Honley in the Huddersfield League, that might be county player Timmy Taylor again. And a little bit further down there, he was a guest on the show a few weeks ago. He's obviously got back to a little bit more fitness. Daniel Salpietro with 5 for 40 for Lower House, who I think are now 44 points clear in the Lancashire League. And I've got Burnley going to their place this weekend. And it could be the first club in the country to win their Premier League, and that's now I'm going to have everyone at Lower House say, "Why did you say that, Livo?" But you've also got down there, Harpreet Singh Brar, Indian IPL player playing at Barn Green, 5 for 40 against Harborne, and then you missed one of your favourites.
Oh no,
Henry Blofeld.
Blofeld, yeah.
With 5 for 47 for Shepherd's Bush. We know it's spelled.
Do you know what would be lovely if Henry Blofeld was still bowling? I suspect
Absolutely.
Well, I think he was a wicketkeeper, actually, wasn't he? Just to chuck in there, you mentioned Daniel Salperetra there, 79 as well to go with his 5 for. He's 6th on my list of all-rounders. Matty McKernan with his 3 wickets and 125. Roshan Lakmal, 112 runs and 4 wickets. Timmy Taylor there, he's got 92 and 5. Brad Shmurley, 127 and 4 wickets. And Adil Ali, 131 and 4 wickets. So there's some serious performances around the country. And that's just the top 5. There's loads of hundreds with multiple wickets all over the place.
Good weekend, good battle between both again. Clearly a battle and a half at Blackpool with the lowest scoring game in the Northern Prem. Who you got this weekend, Taff?
We've got a derby. We've got Fleetwood at home, so big games. Hopefully, there's a few on. Sun's out, and this wind stops because I don't know how we're going to go at training in about an hour's time. But
yeah, I have a funny feeling, as you said, they will be calling in Blackpool Airport if the wind's like that, because the ball could go all over the bloody place, couldn't it?
Let alone the ball, it could be us.
Get the red arrow scooting over just as you're about to face up to somebody bowling 90 miles an hour. Let's hope that happens, Matt.
Yeah, just got to ask you one question on the Northern Prem, though, Taff, before you go. Yeah, we've got Kendall 30 odd points ahead, but between 2nd and 7th, 4 points between all those sides. 2 words: bloody ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's something on every ball, let alone every game at the moment, the way it's going. And like you say, it's going to go right to the final day of the season, going to go right down to the final ball with how tight it is. Everyone's beating everyone. We just find, like you say, you're getting a bit of a string of wins and you're right up there. So not ruling anything out yet. We're just going to keep keep the foot to the floor and see where we end up in about 7 weeks' time. But it's good fun. It's like you say, there's no easy game. Everything means something. So it's good for the league and good for the Premier Cricket.
Absolutely. All good, mate. Thanks for joining us today, and we will catch up with you next week, and we'll keep an eye out on that derby at the weekend.
You're not doing anything, Bob Down? Sure you will be, though.
I was thinking about going to the Blackpool Air Show, so maybe I should just... what's your parking like? Because I'm not going to be able to get near the air show, so if I can just sneak into your park and watch a bit of cricket and pop to the air show.
Get yourself on, just put that Premier League Cricket Show badge on and they'll know who you are.
Hang on. Get your media pass out, then they'll let you in.
What, into the air show?
No, into the Blackpool Cricket Club.
I'll be like Wayne's World, yeah, just waving it around, just any old pass. Go on, I'm important, let me in. Don't you know who I am?
We do. Cheers, Taaffe.
All good.
Not that many tons and not that many big wicket takers over the weekend, you in comparison to 1 or 2.
Yeah, but we'll go back to Paul's game at Chesterfield. Well, I mean, it's one of those games, Paul. So you've got 118 runs. And obviously, I guess I'm going to make you feel good. The next high scorer for your side was 19, who was the number 10. So are you feeling smug when you come off there, or are you having a word with the lad saying, come on, a bit of help? How does that work in the sheds at halftime?
I was feeling pretty tired when I came off half-time at my smug. Yeah, I mean, the wicket was a bit lively. The first bit of ironies didn't quite go to plan, and then we had a couple of really important partnerships in the end, which took us from 120 for 7, I think, up to 225, which was always going to be more than competitive. But yeah, even though I think, what did you say, 19 was it the high score? There was still a few people that contributed with helpful partnerships along the way in that. Then adds up to a decent score in the end. So yeah, like Joe played really well at the end. I think Rowan before that was in a partnership of 30 or 40. So yeah, I mean, it's just how many it adds up to altogether, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you're very polite about your teammates. That's very good.
Yeah, and how important was it, or helpful, shall we say, that Chesterfield's number 1 run scorer wasn't there either?
Yeah, didn't do us any harm, that's for sure. But not to take away, if anything, from how well our lads bowled, because Absolutely. It was from 120 for 7. I think it was to end up winning by 100 runs was a pretty good day from there.
Yeah, and I think it's that time of year now, though, isn't it, where when you turn up on a Saturday, there's no other way to put this, you're actually not quite sure who's going to be in the opposition or not, because it's holiday season, and there's some strange things happen when it comes to availability, which I have found around the Derbyshire League in particular is particularly strange. But you just don't know who's going to be there, do you?
Yeah, absolutely. You never know week to week, really, what the opposition team's going to look like. There's always the odd person missing, or there's always a new signing here and there. As I said earlier, I think it's the time of the year as well where the league throws up a few unexpected results where the teams down the bottom maybe start clinging on to every single point. And it's a really exciting time of the year where things start to happen quickly in the league table and how results make that look.
Yeah, I mean, we're on the 5th of April when we're recording this, and by the time we put this out and it gets to the following weekend, there's 6 games left, and let's be brutal about it, this year just seemed to have flown by pretty darn quickly, and all of a sudden we've had 16 games of the season, and it's all to play for, especially down the bottom in the league. And I think Cutthorpe and Ralston, they're not that far, they're a win away, aren't they, from overtaking Belper Meadows. On that note, do you want to have a look what happened in Derbyshire the weekend, apart from Ticknall and Chesterfield, because we've done that one?
Well, I spent a bit of time with one of these lads in the week. I was down in Wales, and he was coaching Joe Wilson at Denby. Now, Joe is not known for his batting. He would probably admit that. And he's just got his highest ever score in all cricket on his play cricket stats. He got 81 for Denby on the weekend. Denby 195 all out in 49 overs. Joe Wilson top scored, Charlie Wilson 41. Pete Burgoyne 3 for 39. And Sandy Acre they just fell short chasing Sandy Acres, 197 all out. It's an incredibly tight game. So, yeah, well done, Joe, on your highest ever score. Congratulations, and bad luck on losing by 2 runs. Yeah, Ogbrook, 205 for 4, chased down Swarkson's 201 very comfortably. They got it in 30 overs. Ethan Burler's going in 91 off 69. Josh Lacey 63. Zimmit's deploy got a few not out. Josh Lacey with 2 for 25. Swarkston, Harry Franklin top scored, and Ben Hutchison with 46. But yeah, they were comprehensively beaten. Spond batting first, put up 191. Orawaz got it in the 47th over 8 down. So that was another tight game there. Rolleston put up 199 all out batting first, and Cutthorpe ended in a bit of a heap, 92 all out. Eddie Barlow top score with 37. Richard Green 39 top scored for Rolleston. Alex Brown 5 for 22. And then Belper Meadows, they had a unexpected win. I would suggest that they've just picked up their form at a very important time against A&B. A&B 174 for 7 and 50 batting first. Dave Whiteley 3 for 10 in 10 overs. That's a hell of an effort there, and that's really been the match-winning contribution. Nick Mann, the Aussie overseas, 64 not out, was also important. And then, not a lot from A&B. Chris McElroy, 1 for 21, and Hamid Kadri was top scorer for them, 63. And then the Chesterfield-Ticknall game that we touched on, Chesterfield 127 all out, and then Ticknall 225. Trying to chase 225 for 8 from Ticknall. And Paul's 118 was the top score in the match. Not a huge amount from Chesterfield. Matt Taylor 3 for 48 was the best from them. But Tom Woods 4 for 24. I mustn't forget him for Ticknall. Was a crucial part in that win.
It was most definitely. The bowler I was going to point out from the weekend in the Derbyshire, Alex Brown, with his 5 for 22 for Rolleston off 10 overs. Alex is top of the bowling chart in wickets for the whole of the Premier League in Derbyshire, yet Rolleston are in 11th place. You're going to be a bit sick there. Brownie's a good lad, and I can imagine his thought process along the way there. He's taking the wickets, but clearly they've not been getting the runs. But that was a good win over Cutthorpe at the weekend, because that clearly gets them a little bit further away from them. But the other team that I wanted to talk about with one of my Radio 5 links, Denby, with that close loss on Saturday, then went up to Scunthorpe on Sunday for the ECB Vitality Blast T20 area finals. Now, I'm going to be kind, because I won't tell you what somebody told me yesterday, but the phrase that was used was they collapsed into a heap. And I think they played Hucknall, and it didn't go too well, is the best way to describe it. And coming out of that area final is Hucknall. Our friend Dan Blatherwick and George Blatherwick was playing as well for Hucknall, and they're into the area final, which... guess where it's at? Back at Denby. So, Denby get beaten at area final, and then the regionals have got to bloody host it without having any themselves there. You've got to be a bit sick about that one. But Hucknall will be welcoming to Denby. Kendall and our mate Freddie Fallows will be coming down. We'll also have Old Hill with Sam Keeling-Wright, who is one of the NCCA challengers, who has been not only bowling rockets all season, but he's absolutely smacking the ball left, right and centre. And along with Kendall and Old Hill coming down to Denby, we have our friends from New Farnley, and I have to say our friends, because our friends at New Farnley have been one of the biggest supporters of what we've done for the last couple of years. I look forward to welcoming Noel and Mr. Lilly and the boys down there. We might even see, Hugh, Mr. Steve Bullen come and make runs on our doorstep. We've been talking about him long enough, haven't we, to say the least?
Yeah, that area semi-final from Denby versus Hucknall, they will be a bit sore. 21 required from Denby with, might be 22 required. It's 22 required with 5 overs left and 5 wickets in hand. Yeah, you'd be. In fact, no, more than that. Sorry, 7 wickets in hand. Yeah. They went from 86 for 3 at the end of the 15th over to 102 for 8 and after the end of the 20th. So, yeah, that's a great finish from Hucknall.
Chasing 107?
Chasing 107, yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll be a little bit hurt, shall we say. Yeah. And then the ECB being the ECB that they are, they say, you can host everyone, shall you? Just go and host everyone.
They do like using Denby, don't they?
Absolutely. Down south, the regional finals are on Sunday the 24th of August as well. That'll be at Basingstoke, and there's a couple of cracking clubs going. They've got Ashmore and Barton Wanderers from East Anglia. You've got 2 of the biggest hitting clubs down south when it comes to run making. 3 Bridges will be there, and I'm hoping the boys take their camera crew with them, because that'll be brilliant. Wanstead and Snaresbrook are in the regional final, and they're also in the National Championship semi-final, and then Exmouth. They've got a long bloody drive from Exmouth all the way up to Basingstoke, but it's the southern final. Yeah, they're going to enjoy the day out. So I'll be at Denby on the 24th, though, with Kendal, Hucknall, Old Hill, and New Farnley. Look forward to it, and hopefully you're going to get along that day as well, mate.
Yeah, it should be fun. Yep, I think I've blocked it off.
Yeah, your cup run this season, Paul. How's it going?
We've got the Brewery Cup Finals Day to look forward to, which is about as far as we've managed to get in any cup this season. So the finals day for that's in a couple of weeks' time, but we didn't fare too well in the National or in the Prem Cup this year, so we'll save it all for the Brewery Cup Finals Day, hopefully.
Yeah, do you know who they're playing, Hugh, in the semi-final of that?
Go on.
Winsell.
Really?
Yeah. Coincidences don't stop, do they, in the slightest? And actually, guess who knocked Winsell out of the Brewery Cup last year?
I wonder.
Ticknall. It just seems to be a regular thing, but there's not that many of us in the Brewery Cup at the end of the day. But when it comes to the Nationals, Paul, do you feel as though you don't quite, from Derbyshire, we don't seem to give it a go, do we, properly?
It obviously comes right at the start of the season. I think it has a feel about it of a sort of glorified pre-season game. Everybody knows you have to get through quite a lot of rounds to make progress in it. I think we managed to win one game this year and then we lost in the second round, but it's not always easy to get full strength sides out of that time of the year. And I think, it kind of feels like a game just to try and get people up and running and get into the season. And we've never really made it through that many rounds in the competition. But I think we've always tried to prioritise and do as well as we can in the cup competitions. And over the years, we've been pretty successful in the Derbyshire Cup and in the Brewery Cup. The national game at that time of the season, I think, always has a little bit, not less importance on winning, but it's more about just getting people into the season and people batting and bowling.
Yeah, and I think what I've spotted, when you look at the clubs who do go a long way, they all generally have one thing in common. They are the larger clubs with the bigger squads. There's a lot more depth into them, isn't there? And that's why they can start that season off a little bit more strongly. And, with respect, Ticknall are a decent-sized club, but it's a proper village club still, Ticknall, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Ticknall's a tiny club in comparison to some of the clubs against in the city centre and beyond. In terms of number of members and the size of the club, I think for us to have us in the Premier League is doing pretty well compared to some of the size of the clubs that we face against. Yeah,
most definitely. Hey, let's look at one more final Premier League, as we're going to do 2 or 3, as we say every week, Hugh. Let's go up to the northeast, where I think a little bit like Ockbrook in our Derbyshire League, Burnmore are now 76 points clear with 6 games to go. Now, it's win-lose there is 24 points for a win. So they're around about 3 games, just over 3 games ahead. But they're cleaning up Burnmore this year, mate, aren't they?
Yeah, I think you want to call it. Would you call it? Is it safe to call it? I would think.
Now, I will call Sunderland going down, who are only on 45 points, if you don't mind.
Yeah, but still, I think Burnmore don't have to do a huge amount. I think you would, but they're still got to win games, and it's never easy winning games of cricket. But you would think with their depth and their quality that they're gonna get the job done. They play Burnetfield in 5th at the weekend, batting first, 294 for 4. Ross Greenwell 105 not out. Stewie Pointer 77 off just 56 balls, and then Burnetfield, Ross Whitfield Jr. 98, and Johnny Bush 62 off 76, but. The Oswell, John and Matthew Oswell got some runs and some wickets, but they weren't enough. Wakaz and Maksood, 3 for 54 in 15 overs, and Graham Bridge 2 for 47. Got the job done for Burnmore, but they just look very, very strong. At the top, Felling, 247 for 8, batting first. Ashington all out for 122, so that wasn't a particularly close one. Alistair Appleby, 74. Ed Hurst, 56, and Ishaq Khan, 4 for 31. Matt Collins got 4 for 55 for Ashington. Newcastle versus Castle Eden. Newcastle batting first, put 201 on the board. Castle Eden got him off the last. Oh, no, got it reasonably. Sorry, we're in 58 overs. Castle Eden got it relatively comfortably, 204 for 7. Tom Fletcher for Newcastle, 61, was their main contributor. Josh Sterling, 359, but Mandeep Singh, 64 for 74 balls, and Keith Bailey, 4 for 34 were their performers. Tynemouth in 11th, they put up 259 for 8 in 58 overs, and Chester Street didn't chase it down, but got the most points in the match. They got finished with 17 points. 11 for Tynemouth. Matt Brown, 114 for Tynemouth. Andrew Smith, 96 with the main. Oh, and Jacob McCann, 95 not out as well for Chester Street. So top effort from him. Shotley Bridge, we're trying to chase headlines, 250 for 6. They got bowled out for 82, so that wasn't happening. Rob Taylor, 68 for Hetton Lions, and Oliver Watt, 539, and Aaron Watson, 541, shared the wickets between them. And then South North, Sunderland were trying to chase down 246, and they were bowled out for 161. South North, Simon Birtwistle, 68 not out. And Oliver Francis McGee, 5 for 56. Not a huge amount from Sunderland, as has been the case for much of the season, unfortunately.
And that final game there, Tynemouth, 259 for 8 declared after 57 overs. On our friends at Chester Street, they got within 5 runs of getting to that total. Bit of a sickener. It's obviously a timed game there, the way they're playing 110 overs. Bit of a sickener not to get there. And I've got to ask one question. Are Chester Street missing our friend Ashthorpe? They're in second place in the league, and he hung those boots up at the end of last season. He's too busy putting photos of all the biscuits he's collected at Durham for Bumble to eat when he's on commentary, would you believe? Although he did say he would help him with the biscuits, to be fair.
Yeah, well, I think you're always going to miss
Absolutely.
Thorpe, aren't you?
The other one I thought that was interesting was the Shotley Bridge game, because, as you say, Aaron Watson and Oliver Watt, they both bowled 11 overs. They took 5 for 39 and 5 for 41 to bowl Shotley Bridge out for 82. And how unusual is that to see just the 2 opening bowlers bowl 11 each and that's it, the game's over? Especially when you've got a certain Ross Burden at the top of the order for Shotley Bridge, Hayden Mustard opening with him, and I'm sure Charlie Collingwood down the bottom of the order there must be someone relatable up in that area as well. Pretty strong side, to say the least.
I'm sure Oliver Gibson as well, as Otis Gibson's. It does seem to be a family affair up in the northeast. Certainly, there's quite a few Harmisons knocking about recently. I'm sure one's been signed for Durham as well. So there's a few at Northumberland as well. So yeah, it's definitely a family affair up there. I don't know the exact family connections. We don't have the Cric info version on here, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's a fairly heavy international pedigree in that side. But yeah, didn't. Shotley Bridge weren't able to use it.
Yeah, and clearly, for the BBC reporter who rang me a couple of weeks ago, clearly no Premier League footballers bowling in the North East Premier League at the moment.
Well, they might have moved. Might be in the Yorkshire League.
Not saying a word, but I get a phone call every year now. Because they all think we've got... You see, what happens now, Paul, is when you talk about 33 Premier Leagues, BBC reporters ring thinking you know everybody. I mean, there's 370 teams. We're good, but we're not that good, clearly, as you'd imagine. So Derbyshire has been... you can laugh, typical. Derbyshire for us is a league that we know really well, clearly. One of the things that we do notice compared to the other leagues around the country, and this is I'm going to take my local hat off, we don't seem to be able to attract some of the bigger names generally. And, if I look at the Derbyshire players, they're not dropping down into the league as much as they used to, are they, either?
Yeah, I think that historically the Derbyshire lads have played in the league quite a lot, haven't they? I think maybe the Derbyshire squad at the moment, there's not that many local Derbyshire lads in it, and they maybe go and play club cricket elsewhere from this league when they get the opportunity to do that. It would certainly be nice, and it would make a big impact on the league, I think, if the Derbyshire players every now and again, when they have the chance, were playing in the league. Obviously it would make the league stronger. It would have a big impact on clubs and players within clubs. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I can't think of many examples of Derbyshire players having played in the Derbyshire League this year.
Well, the third highest run scorer at the weekend was Brooke Guest from Derbyshire, but playing for Moorlands in the Huddersfield League. It's not that far away, but I'm a big advocate of what they do in South Wales. Glamorgan, one of the 18 first-class counties, they literally allocate their players to sides at the start of the season, and subject to availability, you're going to get a Brook Guest, you're going to get a Harry Kane, you're going to get that. It's got to be a nice way of sort of feeding back into the leagues for the first class counties, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think that used to be a system in the Derbyshire League when I was, must be sort of 20 years ago now, that there used to be a draft system where, based on league positions in the previous season, then you'd get a pick of a Derbyshire player, and the team that finished at the top would get last pick. And generally the teams that finished near the bottom would try and pick the players that would play for them the most.
Yeah.
And then I guess the teams at the top would end up with somebody that probably wasn't going to play that much. But it was a nice system to get players playing in the league. I think it created a little bit of, I think some of the Derbyshire players didn't necessarily enjoy or like where they ended up playing because they didn't get a choice in it. There was an exception where so I was fine at Ticknall because that was my home club. If your home club was in the Derbyshire League, you could play there. But yeah, there definitely was a system in the Derbyshire League where there was a draft system where players were allocated a club in the league at the start of the year, and then that was effectively paid for through the Derbyshire contracts.
Well, I didn't know that, Hugh. Did you?
Player power gone mad, I think. That's what it is.
But there's also a proper draft where the team that came bottom gets first choice. It got NFL written all over it, this, hasn't it?
Yeah, so the two promoted teams would have first choice.
Love it.
And then you'd work your way up the leagues, yeah. But it was definitely a thing when I was like 17, 18, 19, so talking 20 years ago. Yeah.
I can imagine conversations in bars around Derbyshire, if we give you 3 kegs of Marston's, can we have your pick as well and stuff like that? It could be quite fun, that, couldn't it? Really,
or teams. If you were safe from relegation, just losing games deliberately, as they do in America. Putting the third team into the first team to make sure that they're third from bottom to get the choice picks for next season.
Yeah, and the irony is, Paul, over the border in Nottingham, we see a lot more of the boys from the Nottinghamshire side and the seconds there dropping down into the league. And to prevent that becoming an issue, they've got this wonderful point system that we applaud massively over there, where you're allowed 21 points on the pitch on a Saturday, but you've got to make sure that you can't have 4 test players in there because you can't play anymore. Cabs and Carrington can put out three Ahmeds, no problem at all, because they're homegrown, but you're not allowed to do that. And it's just finding that balance around the counties to make sure what's right, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you want to try and encourage the homegrown players to play at their clubs when they've got the opportunity to do so. And generally, I think they would want the opportunity and welcome the chance to do that. And then, as you said, I think getting the county players in amongst the league system every now and again is valuable game time for them. And it's also to what the league looks like, impact they can have on clubs and individuals within the club.
Most definitely. Just coming towards the end of our chat, just looking ahead to the rest of the season, 6 games left. You've got to be looking at for potentially that top 3 challenge for Ticknall this season. If you don't get there, what would you be looking to do to improve next year in terms of, is there a little bit of acquisition, a little bit of, bringing a player or 2 in to just get that further up there?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's probably a question to ask Tom as captain, what he would be looking for next year. I think in terms of the rest of this year, I think it's a really important 6th game for us. I think there's a big difference between sort of falling away in the season and us finishing 8th or 9th and finishing really strong and ended up something like 3rd or 4th in the league. And then if you couple that with hopefully a positive day at the Brewery Cup finals day, there's the opportunity for us to have what looks like a really strong season. If we could finish that finals day well and then finish in the top 3, 4, 5 in the league, I think that would be a season that we're all pretty pleased with. As I said, if it just drops off a little bit and it's not quite like that, then it's not quite what we're after. So I think it's a really important 6 games for us as a team, and hopefully it'll be a strong end to the season.
And it'll be a strong end for you because you're not at school, which means you can actually get to play the games.
Yeah, I mean, we go back to school in 3 or 4 weeks. So the last 2 games are in school time, but it's obviously not cricket season at school. So I'll be talking nicely to them to see if I can manage to get a game or 2 in that last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and we talk to a lot of guys around the country who work in similar schools to you. And it's just a balancing act, isn't it? Just to get that as much cricket in as you possibly can. And I find it fascinating with the likes of someone like Tom Brett down in who plays for Staffordshire. He can't play a load of Saturdays because of his job at Bedford School, but he can still get out then on Sunday playing for Staffordshire because it's the NCCA starts there. It's just a balancing act for you all, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Denton's been wonderful. It's been a great school. It's an opportunity which I'm really grateful for, and I've really enjoyed the 3 years there so far. I've been able to work with some really strong players. We've had some really successful teams in that time. But the compromise for that is that it means I think I missed 7 league games so far this year. But if I end up playing 15 out of 22 league games, then that's not too bad.
Well, I can categorically say that looking at the Derbyshire numbers for the entire league last year, that would still be just about above average for a lot of clubs. So you can't be going wrong there, can you?
All right.
Yeah. Not that we look not that we look at sad statistics like that, obviously.
Yeah, you've got some stats in there, haven't you?
It just means you can't go on holiday, Paul.
Yeah, holidays generally are Sunday to Friday or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. And for yourself, Paul, I'm going to ask you this, mate. How much longer are you going to go? Have you got a number in you? Have you got is it just as long as the body holds up? Is it as long as the mind holds up? Is there a number you want to get to? Is it you've been going on forever?
Yeah. Just as long as I'm enjoying it and feel like I can still contribute, there definitely isn't a number that I think I want to get to or this or that. Just, I mean, I think it's just about the enjoyment of playing with my friends and contributing as much as I can to the club that I've played for quite a long time, and hopefully I can do that in as many ways as possible. But I haven't given it that much thought, to be honest. Just try and go one game at a time, really.
And that's the old pro in him, you see, Hugh. He went right back from the very beginning. He's gone back to the beginning.
One game at a time.
That's all it's about, isn't it? Yeah. Hey, thanks for joining us, Paul. Been an absolute pleasure, mate. Been a long time since we caught up, and I might try and get over to Ticknall.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, I might try and get over to Ticknall before the end of the season, because it is my local Premier League club.
It is.
My friends at Ralston won't like me saying that, but I think Ticknall's just a little bit closer, would you believe?
Yep.
All the best, mate.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Pleasure.
Thanks for joining us at the Premier League Cricket Club. We'll be back soon with more from the world of Premier League and NCCA cricket. But in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review and follow us wherever you get your socials. Or maybe check out our website, premierleaguecricket.co.uk, to stay updated. Until next time, have a good one.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.